Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 39. I'm your host, the old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician, and I got too many hobbies. Talk wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast and Funko Pop collector.
I'm also
Andy.
your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
All right, well, now that we got all of our many nicknames out of the way, let's go over today's show. Today we are going to be talking about the Judgment Day, Forbidden Door, Jeff Hardy being in trouble again, and more. Before we get started on today's show, we've noticed we get a lot of listeners who maybe haven't liked or subscribed to us on either YouTube or Spotify or iTunes. If you could, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review. All that stuff really does help in the algorithm. We see the people listening every week, but it would be great if, a little bit more interaction between all of us could happen. And I'd love to talk to you all. Really, like personally, one-on-one, feel free to message the Instagram anytime. Everything's on Spotify, Apple Music, video versions on YouTube. We do have t-shirts on ProWrestlingTees.com. You want to go to ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan, where we have our pocket logo design. And later this year, we are going to be getting a new design. I think it's about time we update that t-shirt design. Well, that takes care of all the intro stuff. Andy, I'm going to pass it over to you and let you take it from here, man. Do you want to just get right into
Jeff Hardy,
it?
guys. Jeff Hardy. Let's just get right into it. Jeff Hardy has...
How many is that in the last 2 years?
DUI. This is his... 2 years? I don't know. I know three in the last 10. Which is 3 too many. He blew a .294, which is like 3 times the legal limit. 0.3 is like
The limit,
Oregon
just so everyone knows, the
shutdown.
limit for driving is .08. And he was at almost .3.
Guys, let's just talk about something real quick. I mean, and this is not like a paid advertisement or anything. It's just, it's 2022. If you want to go out and drink and get obliterated, you go ahead and do that. Like, no one is judging you on like if you want to drink, cool. Like, that's on you. I drink when we do the podcasts. I've even done episodes where I've definitely had a little too many, and I feel bad afterwards. But let me tell you guys something. There is no excuse in 2022 to do this. And if you do it once, learn from your mistake and move on. Get an Uber, okay? Or just get whatever you need or whatever you think that you need to run out for at 2 a.m. where you're like, oh, I really wish I had some whatever right now. Just have that at home already. Where are you going? That's my thing, Jeff. Where are you going? Or where?
I think he was leaving his show that was at a Dave & Buster's.
No. That's never a good thing to be like, I just left my gig at Dave & Buster's or at Applebee's.
I love Jeff Hardy very much as a performer. He's one of the people that got me into wrestling. I was just thinking earlier about when I was in like 6th grade, when you're in middle school and you start being like afraid of what people think. I went through like 1 year where I like tried to pretend I didn't like wrestling. And I remember staying over at this kid's house and he had a Hardy Boys VHS tape. And I immediately got like sucked right back in. And I was like, I love this stuff. I can't stay away. And from then on, for the last 20 years, I've never taken a break. But I just am. It's like, it's like that Star Wars thing. It's like you see the good in him, right? It's like, come on, man. Like, why are you doing this? Like, don't do this. You have so much going for you. And I feel like now, with this being the 3rd one, plus this is 3 DUIs after the original TNA incident when he was on pills.
Yeah.
It's like, how many times can somebody just get the other chance? Like, I'll always love Jeff Hardy's old work. He was an amazing talent and wrestler, but I don't want to see him in the ring anymore. He needs to go get actual like professional help. It's very obvious.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like when over the pay-per-view was the last time I saw him, and it seemed like I don't know, that match was. I know he was knocked out, but I don't know if that did anything to him. But yeah, he does not. Seems like he doesn't know how to handle like the pain, or if something happens like that.
Why can't you get an Uber though? You're rich. You have more money than.
Yeah,
let's be honest. Like 80% of Americans. You know, the other 20 being like some like celebrities and billionaire people. It's like,
Right.
just get an Uber. What are you doing?
Or just have a driver, because he can pay for that.
Yeah, or just have a professional driver. Then you can do whatever you want. I'm not telling him to like. He needs to go get help because clearly he cannot. Like I know for.
Does he not have a manager or someone that is like doing?
I don't know
these
about you
bookings for
guys, but
music?
I've
Like,
definitely
that
been
is,
like at a place where I'm like, damn, like I should not drive. And you know what you do? You either just stay the night where you are, or you just wait and wait and wait and wait until you're good, which that's not even like the best idea, but like you don't just go for it. What are you doing?
Yeah.
No.
They're like, Jeff, Dave and Buster's.
Then
is
go get a
closing.
motel, you're a
Families have gone
millionaire.
Yeah.
home." No, he was in Florida, so he must have been staying somewhere.
He could
don't
have
know,
asked like
guys.
Tony Khan, and he would have flown his private jet to him. Yeah.
Private jet, like Tony.
I don't know what to think. Andy, he's your favorite wrestler. What do you think? Let's get a perspective from a guy who he's in your top 3. If
It's just every time I see something, I'm just like, God damn it! It's just disappointment. It's just like, God damn it. The Hardys were on like one final run. It seemed like they were about to maybe get the last American title that they
I think
ever
everybody's
needed.
super forgiving. It's
You
like
know?
a lot of people get DUIs. I've never had one, but let me tell you, if you get one, it's like, okay, sometimes you fuck up and you thought like you were going to make it, and and you made a bad decision. You learn from that decision, and then you decide, I never want to go through that again. When it's your third one, clearly you're just like, I don't care.
Well, remember, wasn't Jimmy Uso?
Yeah, he
was
had
like,
what
bam,
two?
bam,
Yeah.
bam, 2.
I don't know.
One was in the middle of this whole bloodline storyline. So
Yeah.
you
I
guys
don't
are
know.
the
I
main
can't,
focus
as
of
a
TV
just
right
like a
now.
normal human, I've never gotten one, but I can't imagine having a judge being like, okay, I'm giving you a free pass on this one, but like, don't ever let me see you back in here. And then you being like, all right, I'm just going to do it anyway. Like, no,
Right.
don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a horrible decision.
What I'm hoping at least is that AEW, with them being AEW, it's like hopefully they can tell Jeff they're not going to put him on TV, or yeah.
Well, what
Talk
I
to
read
Moxley.
is
Talk to
he's looking
someone
at a
that, like-
minimum of a decade-long driver's license suspension.
Oh yeah.
That's
and I
if
think
he
it was
and if he.
like 5
I mean,
years
yeah,
maybe.
if he
Probably
doesn't go to
jail
jail,
time.
this dude's not driving for the next 10 years legally.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I'm going to be honest. 3 DUIs, yeah, dude, that's.
Yeah.
Imagine
Well, you
this,
get-
though. The headline.
Driving's a
and like I
privilege,
said,
not a
people-
right. All right, you
Yeah,
fuck it
and
up.
people
you
fuck
don't
it
get to
up,
do it
and
anymore.
if you're lucky enough to learn from your mistake and get a second chance and never want to do that again, like tons of people, more than anybody would ever want to admit, have probably gotten a DUI. But it's like, okay, you learn from that mistake. You don't keep doing it, because the disregard at that point for human life. There's a difference between thinking, okay, I just want to get home, and then getting in trouble and being like, wow, I'm never going to do that again. And then also just doing it 2 more times. It's like, dude, what if you killed a kid? Or like, I don't know, man. It's
Right.
not cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got that out of the way at the top of the show, because that's actually really that's very current. I've just seen this in the last few hours. I'm glad that we talked about that. I'm glad that we talked about that at the beginning of the show, because it's current. So we can kind of just move past it and jump into our regular wrestling program. Andy, do you want to get us into that?
Yeah, let's get into Raw this week. I actually have a lot of stuff written down for all these shows this week, kind of, maybe except for Rampage. But Raw opened up with, what do you know, a Cody Rhodes segment. And Cody Rhodes is out there, and he's talking about his brutal, you could say, match with his injury at Hell in a Cell with Seth. And Seth ends up coming out eventually, and he shakes Cody's hands and says he respected him. The crowd's like, all right, Seth's being a good guy, whatever. And then Cody's walking to the back, and he's turning around at the top of the ramp eventually, and Seth has already left the ring at this point, and Seth runs back out with a sledgehammer and hits Cody in the back with the sledgehammer and starts attacking him. And his clothes get ripped, but security or whatever ends up separating them. But it looks like this is going to be the last time we see Cody on TV for, I think they said 9 months, which originally they said like 5 or 6. Now it's all the way up to 9. This is going to be like past Rumble,
he's going to return again
close to Mania. It wouldn't make sense for him to come back between the Rumble and Mania, but he's not making the Rumble.
Do you think that's happening, like it's longer because he did the match and continued to do everything?
See, I don't know. I haven't heard anything of he made it worse during that Hell in a Cell match, so I really don't know.
I know they said he did the most probably before it anyways because it tore off the bone, is what they said. So he's like, couldn't do anything. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like you still shouldn't do that. They
were pretty protective of it, but if he had done stuff worse to it in the Hell in a Cell, I doubt they would have done this.
I don't know. Cody's probably just his every segment he does, whether it's WWE or AEW, it's so dramatic and over the top. So
yeah,
he's like, I have to be walking out with this disgusting bruise on my shoulder.
I will miss Cody. It sucks, man. Like, for the first time in a while. Look, I have Raw on right now, so I guess I am technically giving him a rating, right? But Cody was one of the main. Well, that's also become like my new routine. I always have Raw on in the background while we record. Yeah. But he gave me a lot of reasons to tune into the show. So speedy recovery, and I can't wait to see him back.
All right, let's get into our next segment. We had Miz TV, and Miz came out with Maurice. Was that this week? Yeah,
Chef's kiss.
But yeah, the guest this week was Riddle, and Riddle came out, and he was on the mic, and he ended up challenging Roman Reigns to a match. But this ended up leading to a match on Raw following Miz TV, which was Riddle versus Miz. Wasn't really much of a match because Miz was still in his dress clothes. Riddle ended up ripping Miz's pants off, and Maurice was covering up Miz's underwear and everything with her purse. But the big thing to get out of this is that Riddle challenged Roman Reigns to a championship match, and we'll get into more of that later. But this was just the start of all that. What do you guys think? Riddle, Reigns? Let's be honest. We know who would win.
Reigns isn't
They're not going to take the belt off of Reigns
unless it's like Cody or I don't even know who else really.
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock.
I don't know. God. Yeah, The Rock.
Stone Cold. Someone huge.
Well, speaking of titles, Street Profits became the contenders instead of, not number one contenders because WWE doesn't use that, but the contenders.
They don't say number one contenders?
And they did this by beating the. Nope. There's no more because that would mean rankings would mean something. AEW does number one contenders, but ever since AEW started doing number one contenders, WWE just
I didn't know that.
Just contenders.
Sounds like
they've been doing
contenders
chicken matches for a little while now.
Tenders.
So yeah, Street Profits at Money in the Bank, I believe it's at Money in the Bank, are now the contenders for the Usos tag titles. I would assume that it's for both.
There's some tenders.
They didn't say they were just putting up the Raws. Speaking of tenders, Theory interrupted Bobby Lashley, who was out in the ring, and Bobby ended up challenging Theory for his U.S. title. Now, there's rumors that, since John Cena is coming back,
I think it's with the end of June, so it's
that
2 weeks?
Yeah, they're thinking, there's rumors that John Cena and Theory are going to go at it for like the, you had Vince's
Yeah.
one star versus Vince's.
Well, Cena did do that
pupil.
TikTok. I don't know if you saw it, where he's like,
And-
"Who's the person you like right now or want to face?" And that said theory.
Yeah. Yeah, and also Cena has
Yeah.
the history of the U.S. title stuff, and Theory right now is the U.S. champion. So, I mean, I wonder if it would be a passing of the torch kind of thing, and if Cena actually allowed Theory to
I hope
win,
not.
or Vince allowed Cena to beat, or Theory to beat Cena.
I'm just happy that Bobby Lashley is out of
John
that.
Cena, The
Hope not.
Rock. John Cena, Austin Theory.
It's not Austin Theory. It's just
Different
Theory.
ring to it. Different ring to it. Yeah, that's right. Just like Matt Riddle
Oh
is
my
just
god,
Riddle.
that's like a whole. We don't want to even get in on the one name thing. It's so stupid.
I think we've gotten into it
It's,
before.
it
but,
drives me
yeah.
crazy.
I think the big thing, though, that came out of
yeah.
this week's Raw was the Judgment Day segment. Finn Balor was revealed as the next member. And Damian Priest, is talking in the ring, and he says, basically they need to get rid of the dead weight that, held them back. And he looks at Edge, and he's like, "That's you." And they turn on Edge, and take him out.
Sinclair must have gotten to him.
But
Now,
why?
I don't know. I don't know if this means. I don't know. Maybe this is just a new age or a younger talent group, or I don't know. See, this is what doesn't make sense. All right,
Yeah.
they won the match at the pay-per-view. Edge is the one
Yeah.
that got the pin. How's Edge dead weight? It just logically
they knew they were
going to
do that.
sense. If Edge had lost at the pay-per-view, if he then it would be like, yeah, you're dead weight. But he won. He won the match for the team. And they're like, you're dead weight. Like, what?
It sounds like this is what happened. Cody got hurt, and they were like, "Damn, all right, we need another baby face."
I mean, he is moving to the babyface side,
yeah.
but it's like, why not just have? If
Yeah, they already
knew that
moved him
on the
over.
pay per view. Like Cody was already hurt. Why didn't they just have them lose then?
You think you know me?
Then it would have
It
made
would've
sense. The
made
turn
sense.
would have made sense, right? It just, I don't know. But we've been, I think, talking about it for a little while now that Balor was
Yeah.
going to be the one. It was rumored. No, I thought he was going to turn on AJ. That was going to be a whole thing, but I'm sure more will happen tonight.
What I
on
was
Raw.
hoping was that Balor would join, and then it'll be like him and Edge for a while, and then they would all turn on Edge at some point. Not.
Well, I'm wondering, is there a leader now?
I think Balor is,
Balor
yeah.
the leader? Is Damian Priest the leader? Balor is. So they pulled a Bullet Club where you
Yeah.
get rid of your old leader, and then the new
Except
guy
they shortened
comes
it
in,
down
he
to like a
becomes the
month or
leader.
two storyline.
Yes, Judgment Day with
Yeah.
Edge was not around.
At
very
least
long.
Edge is going to get his old theme music back.
we'll-
Thank God.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
when the
not his
Judgment
hair,
Day come
so.
out now, it's like,
Um,
is Balor gonna have the wings?
also, doesn't the song start with "You think you know me"? You never did.
He's like, actually, just kidding. You guys still know me, right? He's like, you guys
You
didn't
didn't
forget me,
forget?
right? You know me.
Yeah, it just goes back to.
But
Alter
also
Bridge.
like this turn,
Theme
like
song,
this
like
doesn't make
nothing
me
happened.
like Edge.
Right. Him getting his ass beat by
No.
a bunch of jobbers doesn't make me be like, God, he's the best.
I'm kind of like, I'm not mad at Balor being in the
Yeah,
group and being heel.
he is.
Balor's better
not
as a heel.
jobber.
No.
Who the hell
But
is
speaking of
Damian
the Judgment
Priest, though?
Day,
Just throwing that out there.
Punishment
Yeah.
Martinez. Well, speaking of Judgment Day, though, the main event of the night, Rhea Ripley ended up becoming the contender for the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank.
I mean, I like that.
That's not bad. No. So they seem to be pushing this group. We'll just have to see. But yeah, Edge being dead weight when he's the one that speared Riddle
Yeah.
and won the match
It was
doesn't make any
pointless.
freaking sense. But or not Riddle speared Balor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Balor's the one that got pinned, and Balor's the one that replaces Edge. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh man.
Gotta get rid of the dead weight.
So let's get into Dynamite. This was a big Dynamite
Yeah.
this week. There's a
Light the fuse.
bunch of moments. Anyway, We opened up with a battle royal to determine who would face Moxley in a number one contenders match for the interim AEW championship at Forbidden Door, and that winner would face the winner of Tanahashi and I forget, but Tanahashi ended up winning the match that was for this. So the battle royal, I thought there could have been, more bigger stars in there, but there weren't. There was people in there that I was like, oh, they're not winning.
Yeah, it's like
at all.
3 out of the 4 that started.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're not winning.
There was no Malachi Black. There was no
Jericho wasn't in it.
No. I was really surprised that Kyle O'Reilly won, though.
Yeah.
I thought Darby was going to go all the way.
Yeah.
That's who kind of, or Andrade.
Yeah, I thought it was
who had
Andrade.
just come back from getting married. But Kyle O'Reilly won, so he was going to face Jon Moxley in the main event of the show, which we'll get into. Now, the next thing is kind of a hot topic.
Oh, did you want to say also
they
during the
introduced
Battle Royal that Swerve turned on Hobbs? Turned on Hobbs.
Keith Lee.
What am I saying?
Andy, is that
Hobbs?
where you got your
Keith
shirt?
Lee.
Hot Topic?
I don't think so. I mean, I've had it a long time. I actually have 2 of them. I think you bought me one, but I also bought myself one.
I'm just
Not
kidding.
knowing
Andy's
that
wearing
you
a
would
Bullet
buy
Club
me one.
shirt. If you're not watching on video.
Anyway, what about this All Atlantic Championship, guys? People don't like it. There's too many belts.
Well, now there's too many belts.
Yeah.
I think
Before you buy ROH, there would have been
I think
fine.
once ROH
Now you
once
buy
ROH
ROH.
goes actually gets their own thing, I think it'll be better.
I'm just saying, when you have too
Yeah.
many belts, then no belts mean anything.
Right.
If you only have a certain amount, so this is going to be, the belt. It's kind of like, I feel like the European title. It represents, the other countries that isn't America.
Yeah, it's another tournament too.
And also some of these countries that they're talking about aren't even on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That's another thing.
I was like, the All Atlantic,
So-
except for there's countries on the Pacific on this.
Yeah, like Japan. I'm just like, so there's a tournament that's going to determine the inaugural champ, and I think it's going to end at Forbidden Door. I
Yeah.
believe.
I
It's
can't
gonna be
wait
a
for
four-way.
Forbidden Door pay-per-view. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But this led into our first qualifier match, which was, there was no qualifying. The tournament bracket's already decided. So this was our first match. It was Buddy Matthews, who I guess was representing Australia, and then Pac represents England.
Britain, they said, but
I don't remember. Britain. Okay. Really good match. Winner was Pac, though. In the
that was
end,
an amazing match.
Buddy Matthews is great.
That's why I was
Buddy
like, we need to
Matthews is
see
great.
more of him.
I mean, everyone knows
That match
Pac
was
is good.
sick.
Yeah. So Pac moves on in the tournament. I believe he's going to wrestle the winner of Miro and Ethan Page this week. I think they're all on the left hand.
I think it's just a 4-way at Forbidden Door. Like they don't have time to do the semifinals. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
So they're just like in the match
Okay.
now.
Well, so it's gonna be a fatal 4-way. God, that can get complicated. Okay. Yeah, I think Malachi Black's in the tournament. Ray Phoenix. Trying to
Miro.
think who else? Oh, and then two people from
Yeah.
New Japan are going to be going at it. We had a Trent Beretta segment, and FTR came out. He was saying that since their match with Roppongi Vice got interrupted by Jeff Cobb and forget the other guy's name, but they're from the United Empire, that FTR should give them another chance. At this moment, we see, we hear some music, see the Titantron, and then when it says United Empire and then Will Ospreay, man, this crowd popped. I never thought to see Will Ospreay anytime soon, at least in AEW, but he comes out and he has the United Empire attack FTR and Trent Beretta.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Will Ospreay coming.
Someone said that there's no such thing as a casual fan anymore because of the pop that Will Ospreay got. And I'm like, again, I talked to some dudes who they'll like turn on WWE every now and then. If I ask them who Will Ospreay is, they're not going to know. Have any idea who that is. So I don't know if that's completely true, but the pop that he got was sick. I mean, I saw people being like, "Yeah, it was dead." I'm like, "How was it dead?" It was like a slight delay because I think people were like, "Really? It's Will Ospreay?" Like, holy crap.
Right.
That's how I was. Like, I did like double take on my TV.
I think it's like you don't want to cheer, right? And then in case you're wrong, and then you're like, "Oh wow, yeah, he's really here!" Like then everybody went crazy.
Yeah. But you know what?
Speaking of, go on, Jeremy.
Sorry, I was just gonna say a real quick thing. The funny thing with like you saying casual fans and hardcore fans. So AEW, they usually do between 900 to 1 million viewers for their shows right now for Dynamite. The NBA Finals is on that same night on Wednesday, and usually like WWE sees a huge drop whenever there's a sports final on. But AEW still was within that 940 range. So it's like all those hardcore fans are still watching.
I do think it's because the AEW audience, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I'm not going to speak for our listeners because I love like baseball and like Jeremy loves, soccer, or football, whatever you want to call it. And it's like one of those things where it's like me personally, if someone's like, you can watch Dynamite or you can watch the NBA or hockey, or I'm the type of fan, I'm going wrestling every time. And I feel like that's a lot of the the AEW audience.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you could say the same
I
for the
completely
WWE
agree.
audience. You know what I mean? Like, like if like some good hockey game was on, they'd be like, I'll just watch that. You know what I mean? I'll watch Raw next week. Where an AEW fan's like, no, I'm just going to watch Dynamite because I love wrestling. It's just different. It's just different.
Yeah. And that's just showing the spot for the hardcore fans that they're still needed. It's not just casual fans.
Well, with Will Ospreay, making his debut for the first time, we had another first-time debut, and that was Hangman Adam Page versus David Finlay, the son of Fit Finlay.
Yeah.
And he loves to fight.
Winner was Hangman Adam Page. What did you guys think of the match? Yeah.
That was a good match.
David Finlay's good. I mean, his dad's a legend. I thought it was a good match. It was cool. He's got a good look to him, I feel like. It's been a while since I see him. He didn't look like this, I don't think, before. Last time I'd see him in New Japan. But Heyman gets on the mic afterwards and challenges Okada at Forbidden Door. Because of this, when he said this, the crowd popped pretty hard. But Okada was wrestling someone at, I guess, I don't know what show they just had.
I forget what it's called. But he was wrestling Jay White.
And really, I think, Heyman didn't know who was going to win that and called out Okada. He was basically just calling out whoever the champion was, I think. And Jay White ended up winning.
Yeah. What a lot of people are thinking.
You good, Tim? Why'd you?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I thought you were telling me to stop talking. That's why I was like, what?
No, I was giving you the too sweet.
All I saw was this. Sorry, I got screens pulled to. Pulled to the side. I don't have your whole screen. I thought you were just like. I was like, yeah, okay. Now I don't know where I was.
That's all right.
All right.
You finish your I'll stop it.
It looks like Hangman's gonna possibly end up wrestling Jay White, who is now the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion at Forbidden Door. And if you do some digging online, you can see Jay White's little promo at their press conference. It was a good promo that he did right after his match. But after Hangman challenged Okada, Adam Cole interrupts and basically says that Hangman doesn't deserve it. He just lost the belt.
Yeah.
He's like a real champion.
A lot of people are thinking
it's sustain his own heart belt.
Yeah. I think it's going to be because, I think Okada lost a basic. I don't know if you've known the thing between him and New Japan, but there's been a lot of drama.
I know there's stuff with Ibushi that's been going on, but I didn't know Okada too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Ibushi. Yeah. I was looking at Ibushi's Twitter right now. But yeah, for Okada, they said it was going to be like a 4-way maybe. So with Okada, Heyman, Adam Cole, and Jay White.
Adam
It's gonna
Cole
be good.
against Jay White, though. That's interesting.
Baby.
Moving on, though, Wardlow. I don't know how I feel about what they're doing with Wardlow lately. Wardlow wants the TNT title. He comes out. Men of the Year come out. Who, we all know Scorpio Sky is the TNT champ. Mark Sterling gets on the Titantron and says that, because Wardlow ripped up the contract, I believe, he's going to get fined or something, and he's making Wardlow fight 20 jobbers. They said, that's security guards. All that security guards you like beating up. He's like, you're going to take on 20 of them. So this week on, what is it, Road Rager?
Yeah.
Wardlow versus 20 fucking jobbers. I don't know if are they trying to book him like Goldberg? Show that he's real big, real strong.
I mean, why not?
Vince is watching, which we know
that's kind of like a funny way to start it after MJF.
Who wasn't?
The dude can have a banger. He had a great match against. It was him and Cody that had that cage match a few years ago.
In the beginning, right? Right in
that
the
was a great match.
First cage match.
Wardlow can go. He's not.
No, I don't think
he. I don't. Muscles,
I'm not saying that he can't go. Anything. I'm just like the booking, And I'd see other people online are like,
no, I know they're big. They're doing the strongman thing. They're doing the Ryback, Goldberg, Batista. Everybody who's
speaking
jacked
of MJF,
I think the TNT title is a good spot.
I think
for him,
so. Because he mentioned it. He's like, I had it won, and then MJF came out because I think it was the night or the show after Revolution when Punk and MJF went at it, and Wardlow cost him the match. So then the next night or next show, MJF cost Wardlow his match after winning the what the hell is it called? I want to say it was a big brass ring thing, but what is?
It was
the circle that he fucking grabbed. So after this segment, they announced a triple threat ladder match for the tag title.
The face of the Revolution. Sorry.
They announced a triple threat ladder match for the tag titles this coming Wednesday, which is no longer happening because of the Jeff Hardy incident. If you go to their Twitter, it's not even advertised anymore. But it was supposed to be the Young Bucks versus the Hardys, who just got off a win from the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. I'm curious to know who would have came out on top with this, but it's no longer happening. And poor Matt, what do you do with this guy now?
I feel like
he just sits backstage, probably.
Yeah. Is he broken?
Be a coach.
Basically, what he was doing with the Hardy family office.
Yeah,
I think Matt should just be like a behind the scenes coach
never
at this point. It's like it's not that. It's just like imagine the Hardy Boys trying to do another run now. It's over. It's over, dude. It's over. I'm sorry. This is just one too many. Jeff just wore. It's just like almost like they wore out their welcome. It's like I don't know. I'm definitely.
I wonder. I'm like, does Jeff even enjoy wrestling like Mac does, or does he just do it? He's like, this is my job.
Yeah. Because Matt seems like he's like 1,000%.
I think if Jeff was
in wrestling,
could pick between music and have the same fame versus wrestling, he'd be like, yeah, music. Duh.
Yeah.
Just wrestling to pay the bills.
That's what it feels like.
It's a real shame though.
Let's get into this main event because me and Tim were talking about it the other day or maybe earlier today. Jon Moxley versus Kyle O'Reilly. This match was awesome.
Yo, all right. This match was so good. Let's just get right into it.
Well, I'll just say the winner first. The winner in the end was Jon Moxley, and that means it's going to be Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi for the AEW Championship at Forbidden Door, interim AEW Championship, because CM Punk never relinquished it. Tony Khan wouldn't let him, so he is still technically the champion. He's just not around. But yeah, give me your guys' thoughts on the match. What stood out for you? Anything?
Well, I guess for me, the thing that stood out was I knew as soon as Kyle O'Reilly won the Battle Royal, I knew he wasn't like Mox was going to win the main event, but this is probably the hardest hitting. Knowing basically the outcome, like this is probably the best match I've seen between Kyle O'Reilly and Mox.
Definitely the best Kyle O'Reilly match since being in AEW.
Yeah.
And he's had some good ones, but I think with putting Mox over, it's almost like a safe option though. They know that he can be the champion and rely on him to carry the company, I guess.
Yeah. I guess they do kind of need that right now because everyone else keeps getting hurt.
It's like, who we got? It's like Mox, yeah. How about you, Tim?
Yeah. I personally was hoping that we were going to see Bryan Danielson wind up taking that spot, and then when Punk came back, we would get the Danielson CM Punk match. But that's just like me fantasy booking in my head. But this match in particular was absolutely incredible. I love watching Kyle O'Reilly wrestle. Like all the counters and the submission moves and the way he moves from one move to the next move, like it's exactly right up my alley. And I love the physicality. Like Moxley really impressed me. I'm not a fan of the hardcore deathmatch stuff. Every now and then, if the stipulation's right and I like the blow off, like I'm into something super vicious. But I thought they had a really good match, and I enjoyed every second of it. I actually watched it twice because I just was like, this was awesome. I'm going to just rewind it and watch it again.
What do you think they do with Blackpool Combat Club now? I mean, if they put Moxley in that position, does that mean if team stuff goes on, they just put Yuta and Danielson together if it were to like ever come down to like tag titles or something? Because you're not going to put Moxley and Danielson, which I'm sure would have been awesome to see them as tag champs. But if Moxley is going to win the belt, you go to your other two guys. You're not doing Regal and Yuta, you know.
I mean, that's another way to elevate Yuta then, if they put him in that position.
I mean, I think him and Danielson would tear it up as a tag team too. I mean, they both have kind of similar styles actually. So, and
now Danielson was hurt. It looked like he just had like a little injury.
Yuta's already a champ.
He's supposed to be back.
Yuta's the pure champ.
Yeah, he's the pure. Yeah, but I think he's fighting Daniel Garcia for it.
Oh, the guy you mean that is on TV every week but loses every match? That guy? Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to give him that title.
Forbidden Door, AEW Interim Championship, Moxley versus Tanahashi. That's what the scheduled match is. But that wraps up.
It'd be crazy if... No, I was just going to say it'd be crazy if Tanahashi
wins. It would
wins.
be, yeah. I mean, Tanahashi would have to be over here all the time going to weekly shows. And also, I don't know how well he can speak English. Do you have a translator, or is he good on the mic? I don't know.
Do you like videos?
I'm not sure. But that wraps up Dynamite. Let's get into SmackDown. A couple things to talk about. Open up with Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the Money in the Bank qualifier. There was no winner. It was a double DQ. They both hit each other with the chair at the same time. It was a double DQ. So good start to this Money in the Bank tournament. Yeah.
So who goes through that? What happens?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out because then we had a women's qualifier for the Money in the Bank. It was Xia Li versus Lacey Evans, who made her first match back, or had her first match back since going away. Lacey Evans won. So screw any plans you ever had with Xia Li because she did not last long getting pushed. We had an Intercontinental Championship change. What do you know? Because they don't do anything with these titles. Ricochet was just a placeholder. But apparently Vince really loves Gunther, a.k.a. Walter. So we had Gunther versus Ricochet Intercontinental Championship, and the winner and new Intercontinental Champion is Gunther.
It was a good match.
It was a good match, and apparently Vince is impressed with, he moved countries for this, and he lost and dieted and lost a bunch of weight and worked out, and just the dedication I read that Vince was impressed with. And Vince loves having his four.
So was he not impressed with the Ricochet?
Apparently not. And he loves having, Vince does love his four. He
was like, you've lost so much weight.
Vince loves his
I've gotten really
his
skinny.
foreign heels. You got Veer Mahan on Raw, and you got Gunther on SmackDown. The main.
Maybe that's why Edge
like
couldn't be a heel.
Bro, that's like the most outdated shit ever. It's like, come on, just stop. Just stop.
That's horrible.
He's like, oh, somebody's from a Muslim country. He's like, let's make. Like, no, don't do that.
I think Gunther is from Austria. Like, he's a Nazi.
No, but I'm just saying, like every stereotype possible, Vince would lean into.
Yeah,
like especially if it's current with like the war. Like right now, like I bet you if we had like a
Russian guy.
Russian guy.
Ginger, put a turban on him. Let's go. He's like, but my family's Christian. He's
remember when
oh.
Yeah. Remember when Kofi started and he had the Jamaican accent?
They changed it because he messed up on TV and Triple H called him out.
Yeah.
Vince and religion and anything like stereotypical is absolutely, it's dark, but it's hilarious. It's like so bad. It's like, dude, my God. Could you make it any more obvious?
I want to get in the main event though because of the not the repercussions, but the outcome and your guys' thoughts on Roman. It was Sami Zayn, who was an honorary member of the Bloodline. He's an honorary Uce. Versus Riddle. If Riddle wins, he gets a title shot of Roman. If he loses, he can never be on SmackDown again. Well, Riddle won and is now wrestling Roman for the title. But it's not next week, or it's next week. It's not at Money in the Bank. So that means that's 2 pay-per-views in a row where the championship is not being defended.
Yeah, I don't get it. Why would you put both titles on knowing that he's not going to be there?
We got to get our live crowd going, our TV crowd up. I don't know, man. Didn't have the championship at Hell in a Cell. Now you're not going to have it at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Money in the Bank is probably one of their bigger like B pay-per-views.
Out of the B pay-per-views, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, this Friday,
especially if they wanted to have it in the Vegas stadium.
Riddle versus Roman. But yeah, it's just could save it for a pay-per-view and you didn't. Could build it instead of over 1 week, but you didn't. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? If not, I'll move on to Rampage because that wraps up SmackDown.
Yeah, just take us into Rampage, boys.
Rampage, the only thing I wanted to talk about besides, I thought the segment, it was quick, but it was funny with Hookhausen. They bought themselves new cars, and Danhausen rolls up in like a green John Deere golf cart kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the lady that's interviewing him, he's like, "Oh, you want to see Hooks?" Hook pulls up. It's more like a badass camo one. He just looks the girl up and down and drives away. But I don't know. when Danhausen was pulling up, he went making sounds like his driving sounds. It was pretty funny. But other than that, I wanted to talk about the main event, which was Will Ospreay team up with Aussie Open and versus Trent Beretta and FTR. What you guys think? Will Ospreay?
That's crazy that he wrestled on Rampage.
That means the crowd that saw him live on Dynamite got to see him, wrestle the same night.
Yeah,
I'm cheesing. You see that? I was like,
but of course,
no.
Go on.
No, I was just gonna say. Hopefully, the people who watch this realize why everyone loves Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, well, hopefully now you know. But Will Ospreay didn't get pinned. It was one of the members of Aussie Open, and the winners were Trent Beretta and FTR. But yeah, I was impressed with everyone in this match. Yeah, it was just I don't know. It was really cool to see Will Ospreay and United Empire on.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this storyline needs the AEW tag titles instead of ROH.
It makes more sense. I also hope Forbidden Door becomes like a once a year event or something where they do some kind of crossover every year at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully they just have like more time next time, because I know this one was like right after, like AEW usually has a pay-per-view and then like a few months later has another one, but this is like
So
back to back.
Ospreay was the first IWGP World Heavyweight Champ, like when they unified the titles, right? And then
All right, hang on one second. Hang on one second. I'm getting a telemarketer call.
then don't answer it.
Yeah, it's like, don't answer.
Hey, whatever you're selling, I'm not fucking interested, okay?
Just don't
All right,
answer it
keep
next
going.
time. You just silence. All right. So Will Ospreay, when they unified the titles in New Japan, he became the first of that new title, right? And then I think he got hurt and had to relinquish it. And he's just coming back, I believe, from injury. And Okada ended up taking it back, and then Jay White just won it from Okada, I believe.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure Will Ospreay at that pay-per-view that New Japan just had won the US IWGP title, but then Juice Robinson didn't give him the belt or something like that. It was like this whole storyline of like Will Ospreay's being screwed over by the.
Oh, okay. So they're out to get him. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see what goes on with all these New Japan guys coming over. There's a well, I thought it would be better if they had the ladder match still, but there's a good card coming up this Wednesday on Dynamite for Road Rager. I'm not sure about any Rampage matches, but tune in next week. We'll cover all that. Cover Matt Riddle versus Roman Reigns. See if that leads to anything more, or maybe they do end up officially booking a title match at Money in the Bank. Who knows? But yeah, that about wraps it up, guys. Unless there's anything else you want to add.
And hopefully no one else gets hurt.
Well, I guess that about wraps it up, huh? Well, I'll tell you another thing that should wrap up. I've been watching Raw for like an hour.
You're done with
I haven't seen Maurice like one time. What's going on here?
Check out Mrs. Mrs. every Monday.
I thought we talked about. No, that's not enough to get me to watch that show. Okay,
I love that show. That show's great.
Oh my!
I know
God.
Andy likes all like the WWE. Like,
it's just more content.
Shows.
Andy, you'll watch anything.
I got
I watch
sucked into
Divas,
Divas for a while.
Bellas.
Andy will take
Ms.
all.
Ms. and Mrs.
Yeah.
Rose to the top. Yeah, I did.
No, Andy, if it has wrestling,
Dude, I put myself through
check
NXT 2.0 every week, all right? So
yeah, he still does.
We don't even
We
cover
might
it
not
anymore.
review it, but he's still. When's the last time we talked about Braun Breaker on this show?
speaking of new content, there's new Broken Skull sessions out with Jeff Jarrett. I'm about halfway through.
Of course you are.
I want to watch that one. I was also thinking like we could start talking about this, like just because I love merch, and every week it seems like at least two of us are wearing wrestling T-shirts at a time. Has anybody seen anything lately from like a wrestler's merch that T-shirt or something that you really like, or is there somebody that you want to see have more merch? Like for me, after watching that Kyle O'Reilly match, I'm like, man,
yeah,
I need that. I want a Kyle O'Reilly tee, like just straight up Kyle O'Reilly tee.
One thing I want to add,
I
want to add that I forgot to write down, but it's kind of big news this week, guys. I want your thoughts on it. Paige's contract's coming up in WWE.
Oh yeah,
and she's cleared to wrestle, but not by WWE. Thoughts? I had saw that she would go to AEW. She said if the money was right, but
right. Yeah, I didn't know that part, that she was cleared, but not by WWE. So
that's what happened with Bryan Danielson. All the doctors cleared him, except for WWE.
I can see her going to like Impact or AEW.
Hopefully
pretty easily.
Run that division, dude.
Yeah.
She's one of the more believable people to become champion, I feel like, if she were to come in there. So
yeah, and she was a great wrestler.
So But I wanted to
Yeah.
add that
Oh,
in.
yeah.
It just dawned on me as we were wrapping up the show.
Yeah, because I think she said July 7th or
Mid-July
something
somewhere,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So Andy, there's no Moich that you want to see come out
Honestly,
in the
I haven't
future?
paid attention to much Moich. I don't know too much of the. I
the
don't
old
know about too much
merchandise.
of the Moiches out there, but I have not seen a bunch.
Well, thank you all for listening to us rant for the last hour about pro wrestling. Join us next week where we're going to have episode 40.
Jesus.
I can't believe it's been that many episodes. I know. We had a goal in the beginning to get past 7. So next week is episode 40. So it's crazy. Thank you so much for the people that listen every week. We appreciate you, and you are the reason why we do the show. The fact that you would wake up in the morning and drink your coffee and listen to us for an hour talk about wrestling means so much to us. You have no idea. So thank you so much. We'll see you next week, and have a great week. Bye-bye, everybody.